There's tons of research now that supports that if you take the same weekly volume and you spread it out, you actually would show better benefits in both strength and muscle gain by doing small doses more often than a huge dose on one day. And plus, it would create a ton of DOMs, right? Which is like super muscle soreness. If you take a week off and you just crush 18 sets of chest,
Right.
it's a lot different than doing 6 sets over 3 days.
So not get hurt and get what they want?
Can you imagine? Matt, what's up, buddy?
What's happening? Welcome to June.
Thanks. I kind of rolled into June. I was in another country yesterday.
Where were you?
Yesterday I was actually in Amsterdam, but I was in Croatia for a week.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
He's the only person I know that actually gone to Croatia.
It's like hot right now. It's cheaper than Italy. The food's just as good. The ocean's amazing, super clear.
You said Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones was filmed there.
Nice.
They filmed Dubrovnik, which is one of the main cities, was King's Landing. And in Split, which is like a city just a little bit north, they're still in the southern part. They're all on the beach, basically. It was where they filmed like season 3 with all the dragons and stuff. So, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't see any of your pictures, if you took any, but I just looked online. It looks like a badass place.
Yeah, the water's amazing.
Yeah.
It's cold this time of year, but it's 40 feet deep, and you look over the side of the boat and you can see a rock. It's like, it's crazy. Yeah, it's like, so a lot of seafood, a lot of cool stuff, and just before the busy season. They only allow like a certain amount of cruise ships to port at either one of those towns at any given time because you dump like 10,000 people into a really small area. It's just a bunch of folks.
That's cool. Welcome back.
Thanks, man.
Rejuice, ready to go?
Ready to roll, brother. Well, not really, but my timing's off. I'm still a little jet lagged, but I think we can figure it out. You got a dad joke?
I do. How about the convenience store beer theft?
I don't know.
It's a cold case.
You know, one of the islands that because we took a couple of boat tours, one of the islands we went by had like a nudist beach on it, like for real. But then also, did you hear that the people were complaining that there's holes in the fence around the nudist colony?
No, I did not.
Yeah, police are looking into it. That's so dumb. All right, well, look, what we're really
been gone and the dad jokes got better. Good job, man.
Well, actually, tie them into the vacation. You know how I do it.
Yeah, you really just put a lot of
I put a lot of effort into those dad jokes. If I put more into something else, maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
Full disclaimer, he gave me my dad joke. That's how embarrassed of my dad jokes he is.
Matt's too busy. He walks out from one call. He's like, what are we doing? I'm like, here's your dad joke. Here's our talking points. He's like, go. Got it.
That's great.
I just got to wind him up. But what we are talking about today is why, like our philosophies around frequency of working out. Because we get this a lot. You know, some franchisees reach out and they'll be like, hey, somebody wants to work out 5 days a week. It's like, you know, you don't want to hold them back financially, but it's like, look, man, there are real reasons why 2 to 3 days a week is the prescription, right? And we're going to talk about what those are today, both physically and psychologically. So a lot of them are just like based on our customer avatar physically. Yeah. I thought we could just rattle through them and just tit for tat back and forth. I mean, obviously you write the programming, so you understand this better than anyone. But I think it would be good for our audience to hear, and certainly for our franchisees to hear, like why 2 to 3 days a week? You know, why not 5 days a week? Well, why don't we talk about it, right? First of all, you know, the overall philosophy is you do full body training, and you only get somebody maybe 2 or 3 days a week, like consistently. And so the outliers that do want to come 4 or 5 days a week, they're just not that many of them. You know, we used to sell an unlimited membership at one point, which the reason we don't do that, it was a huge mistake because people would come too much sometimes that didn't need to. And the only way that they'd be able to do that would be to like power the intensity of their workouts way down. So they would just be coming and doing like dumb stuff just to show up every day. Or, you know, they wouldn't come much at all and they didn't value the membership as much. So it's like putting a value to a session. What's that?
Either come in and not do what you're supposed to, or just not coming at all.
Yeah, like one way or the other. It was like the worst of both worlds, kind of. You know what I mean? I know it sounds silly, but the facts are, you know, working out 2 to 3 days a week is enough for what our customer avatar is trying to do. And so the first benefit would be like gaining, like, okay, why? Like, what's the benefit of 2 to 3 days a week full body? Well, you can gain strength, obviously, for our customer avatar, 45, 65, getting stronger, adding lean tissue. And look, for the sake of this conversation, we'll just say it again, like not getting jacked muscles, right? Will you put on some lean tissue if you've never worked out and you look a lot better? 100%. But again, if it's somebody listening to this that's female, you're not going to get super jacked training with weights. Even if you did bodybuilding training, it's just really hard to get big, even for guys. You know, it's like it doesn't happen by accident, right? So anyway, I think most people listening to this are in the industry are looking into an alloy. They'll understand that. But there's tons of research now that supports that if you took the same weekly volume and you did the old school like bodybuilding body part splits, like chest on Monday and legs on Tuesday, and you took the volume of those work days, and then let's just say you just worked out one time a week for a muscle part, for a muscle group, right? If you took the same volume and you spread it out and you did 3 full body workouts and you got the same volume, and again, though we do train in patterns, let's just say you got the same volume for a muscle group, right?
Sure.
You actually would show better benefits in both strength and muscle gain by doing small doses more often than a huge dose on one day. And plus, it would create a ton of DOMs, right? Which is like the super muscle soreness. If you take a week off and you just crush 18 sets of chest,
Right.
it's a lot different than doing 6 sets over 3 days, right? So you're not as sore, you recover quicker, and you actually, and this is athlete to athlete, this is not even comparing deconditioned people, which should never be doing 18 sets of chest anyway. Imagine how sore they would be. But these are athletes, so somebody who's already well-trained, comparing bodybuilding volume, less frequency, to same amount of volume spread out with more frequency, and they actually showed that they would get stronger and gain more lean tissue with full body.
So not get hurt and get what they want?
Can you imagine? Yeah, we're going to get into the not get hurt part for sure. But like just benefit number one, yes, you can in fact gain lean tissue and get stronger on less volume, or same volume spread out over the same or different frequencies.
Right.
And that's even with athletes. So anybody that's listening that comes from like a bodybuilding or powerlifting background, which I do as well, I used to weigh 270 and train like a jerk at that point in time. And that's fine if that's your goal. But even now, if I had that same goal, I would just add a little bit of volume and still do every.
You still do full body, right?
I still do full body 3 days a week. And I add in just like we do, like emotional exercises at the end. I'll throw in some extra arms and stuff. But, at 230 with like relatively low body fat, I mean, I'm in a decent shape, especially for a guy my age, doing full body, because a lot of people, they'll look at alloy programming and then they'll say to me like, well, what do you do? I'm like, I do exactly what we do. I just throw some extra like fluffy stuff in at the end, which we do for clients anyways. So it's the exact same thing, right? And I end up with the same weekly volume. And I've tried like 4-day splits, so like push pull or upper lower, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I mixed it all around. I just find I like full body. It's very flexible. If I only get in 2 days a week, it's enough, right?
Yeah.
3 is ideal. Plenty of time to recover. Plenty of flexibility in my schedule. And there is a better metabolic aspect to full body. So if I don't have time to get a lot of conditioning in, by doing supersets and emphasizing like different, movement patterns, which we do in our programming. So you might emphasize like a lower body hip, and I might de-emphasize like an upper body push. And when I say de-emphasize, I mean like maybe lower load, higher reps or something. And by the time I get back to my emphasized exercise, lower body hip, I've had plenty of rest as if I just sat there, but there's a little bit of taxation on my overall system, by going and doing an unloaded. So it's like you get a better metabolic benefit. And I want to be in shape too. I want to go hiking and do all the things. And yes, I do things on my off days like walk and everything else. And every now and then get some HIIT training in. But for the most part, like if I just do full body training, it keeps me in really good shape. So I like it. And it's very efficient.
Well, 3 days a week, strength trainings are, what we prescribe.
Yeah, 2's enough. 3 is ideal.
2's enough. 3's ideal. And who we're working with, because you always got who we're working with. It's just people that want to enjoy what you just said, their daily lives, and be strong enough to do them.
Right.
Can do it. That's it.
Right. And so I think what this is also, it's a little bit of what we talked about in the past, where we don't take our trainer geek stuff and impose it on our clients, right? If you want to be a strongman and train for that, have at it. But think about the customer that's in front of you and what's best for them. This isn't about you and what you want to teach other people to do your stuff. It's about what is best for the client in front of you, and that's who we're servicing, and that's what this is built for, right?
Yeah.
All right, so first it was muscle growth. What do you have next?
Well, you hit on it a little bit already. It was improved metabolism and insulin sensitivity, right?
Yeah, I mean, think about the epidemic of obesity that we have, right? And people, there's so many people with type 2 diabetes.
It's still going up. Like, is it going back? Is it down at all? Or is it we still get worse? I never look at the numbers.
It's steady, but it's still creeping up.
Yeah. It's not good.
And it's like 60%. And when you're that overweight, to your point, you're definitely either pre-diabetic. Most everyone's pre-diabetic, right? Or you're straight up type 2 diabetes.
Right. When that's, I mean, a lot of our clients, it's sad, are coming from, they already have those issues, right? So this training is going to help them with that, or have maybe got some kind of foreshadowing from the doctor, like, hey, you got to do something now to take care of this.
Well, and most people, I think, they're like, oh, I'm just going to start jogging. It's like, no. Muscle tissue is the best mechanism you have for clearing your body of blood sugar, right? It's the insulin sensitivity is amazing from adding lean tissue to your body. I mean, probably far and away better. It's not like cardiovascular activity isn't necessary or you need to do some of it. But if you're talking about just preventing diabetes, adding some lean tissue to your body would be the most effective thing that you could do.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about strength training in general. I always do this at training. I have somebody go up to the board and we write down all the benefits of strength training. I mean, it literally does everything. I mean, we're going through like 6-7 things here, but I mean, there's not a thing it doesn't do. It's a fun activity. But like at that point, it's like you should have no problem explaining like to any person that this is going to benefit them.
Right.
Not to go on a sidetrack.
No, that's not a sidetrack but I think then, okay, so strength training is good for you. Facts. There's not a person listening to this that would not agree with that or hasn't read an article about it somewhere.
Right.
You're getting older, you got to have your bone density up. You're on GLP-1s, your weight loss shots. Guess what you got to do to help mitigate muscle loss? You got to work out with weights, right? It keeps your bone density up, and those are the big risks if you're older and you're on those drugs. Great. There's nothing wrong with it. So then you take it a step further, and it's like, all right, well, how much and what? It's like, okay, great. The average person that we're working with, and I mean, I'd say even into more of creeping up into the athletic realm, 2 to 3 days a week full body is the right prescription. So yeah, great.
Going to give you enough strength. Insulin. It's going to improve your metabolic system. It's going to improve insulin sensitivity, get things out.
Yep.
Crush. There's a couple.
Clear that sugar.
You got another one?
Joint health.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, you think about like our clientele, most people like they want to increase, and I'm air quoting, like flexibility. And we always talk about, there's a continuum of make the things strong that need to be strong, make the things move that need to move. And if you do that, the mobility part, because mobility is the right word. Flexibility is like, what does that even mean? Like if you can lie on the floor and you're really flexible, that doesn't mean you can stabilize it, right? So the mobility is like the ability to move and control your weight in those ranges of motion. So you've earned them, again, air quoting that. But that is your joint health, right? You keep your hamstring strong. Does it help your knee joints? Sure, right? And we talk about this continuum because, as an example, if your core's really weak, you may be robbing mobility from your hips, right? So, like, you might be like, oh, my hips are tight. And if you just measured it with just a static stretch, you'd be like, yeah, they are, right? But what if they were only tight because you were robbing mobility from them to create stability because your core was weak, right? So when you look at, like, an overall approach to mobility, it really is about let's make the things stronger that are supposed to be stronger and make the things move that are supposed to move better. And if we do that, then we're not robbing stability or mobility from other areas of our body, right? So it's like that's really what it's all about. And every single person that walks in here would like to, if they already move well, they want to keep it. And if they don't, and that's usually the case, and we measure the way they move with the FMS, they want to increase mobility. And so we're not going to do it with just static stretching. We're going to do it by making certain things stronger and certain things move better. And that's everything from the dynamic warm up to good exercise, period.
And 2 to 3
days a week, we'll handle that. Yeah, I mean, that's our prescription, right? Most people in our brand, we're like 50% of people in our brand overall, all clubs are at 2 and the other 50% are at 3. All of them improve their movement screen scores if they just show up 2 to 3 days a week. So it works.
Yeah, 100%. Here's a good one. This is definitely one for me. Come in some days, I got to do this. Better energy / mood.
100%.
Right? So 2 to 3 days of working out. I can always tell the day after I work out, I feel better the next morning.
Really? That's interesting. Like for real.
Oh, yeah, that's serious. Like if I go 2 days and don't work out, like that third day, I'm like, I'm bad. But if I worked out the day prior, I'm always cruising in. So for our clients, 2 to 3 days a week, look, you're going to have a better work week.
Have you ever seen, I can't think of the scientists. I mean, look, these scientists will run their course on all the podcasts, Atias, Hubermans, they'll do all the popular podcasts. But there is one lady, and she kept repeating this one statement that I love, like, when your muscles work, they release what essentially she was calling like happy molecules, right? Yeah. So it's chemicals that get released that are in your brain and that go to your brain that literally elevate your mood. And it's not necessarily from doing cardiovascular exercise, which can, by the way, also improve your mood, like walking outside. There's a million ways to just get moving more.
Activity, right?
Yeah, any activity. But specific to strength training, just that repeated strong muscle contraction releases chemicals in your body that can elevate your mood. I mean, latest study, I think it was out of Sydney, Australia, was comparing exercise, and strength training was part of that prescription to SSRIs for depression, and exercise was superior. Now, I grant there's people that need both. I get that. I'm not saying like, oh, drop your antidepressants and just work out. But if you're starting from a baseline and you're like, hey, I'm really bummed, right, and your health isn't great, and you don't eat well, and you're like, I think I need to get on an SSRI, I feel depressed. It's like, well, maybe try exercise, right? Because like starting from baseline, exercise tends to work better for people than the other way around. You may need both, but hell, I'd rather you start by trying to exercise first, right?
Yeah. I tell you that, I don't know if I've ever told you this actually. Back in the day when I first started here, there was definitely days where you come in and we all would be like, man, we got me on eggshells. Rick's kind of crazy today. It's just like we just waiting for you to work out. Once you worked out, it was good. Everything was okay.
Is that true?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm the same makeup as you and everybody else, right? We're all the same thing.
Same thing with my kids. I got to go do something right now. You work out, and you're like, all right, I'm better.
Dad, you need to go work out. Yeah, exactly. Good one. Next one I have on my list is a lower risk of overuse by doing less frequency. So, I mean, I think that's a big one. Like when franchisees will reach out and maybe the tail's wagging the dog a little bit, meaning the client is saying, hey, I need to come in 4 or 5 days a week. Well, they need to be educated on why 2 to 3 days a week it works better, right? This is not a class-based concept where you're going in and like cardio bunny working out, right? Like you're putting in real effort for strength, and that takes recovery. And so if you don't recover and you just keep beating yourself, the muscles, joints, everything, right, you're going to get injured. And our population is very susceptible to that. It takes longer to recover when you're over 40, certainly 45 and up. So you need that break. Like you make your gains in both strength, recovery, muscle, everything else in the interim, in the recovery period, not in the work. So you have to work hard enough to create the stimuli to need to recover, but the actual gains are made in the recovery, right? Right. So if you're just going in there and crushing yourself 3 or 4 days a week, 4 or 5 days a week, you're never going to recover, and you're going to run the chance of like that grouchy shoulder is going to come back, or your back's going to flare up. It's like, take your breaks. That's why 2 to 3 is the right prescription.
The something good about this, definitely from a programming standpoint, I always have to toe this line. We build our programs for you to come in 3 days a week. We have the periodization, everything's built in there. Another lens we look at is like. Mike Boyle, obviously you introduced him to me. One of the things he talks about is minimal effective dose, right? What's the least amount I can give you to give you the desired results? So there is always that line where I'm walking when I'm creating a program. It's like, all right, what's the least amount I can give you? But we'll talk about this in a second, but also give you results and a psychology benefit of working out where you feel like you've done enough, right? And then that's how the programs are given, right? So if you're giving it appropriately at an application, we're not going to get you jacked up. You're going to get what you need, and you're not going to get hurt, which, by the way, is probably the most important thing when you take somebody through an exercise program.
Well, we talk about that. Like, if you're putting someone on an exercise program, and certainly someone who's a little bit beat up or they're a little longer in the tooth or a little bit older, the first rule is first do no harm. It has to be that. Yeah. You cannot hurt people. Then can you produce an effective results with your programming? But if you hurt people right out of the gate, dude, you're going to lose them forever, right? And a lot of the people that come in, if they are deconditioned and they are scared of being injured because they've been injured before, they have a nagging thing they're trying to work around, and then you go at them with some very high frequency programming and you hurt them again, you're never going to get them back. You've completely lost their confidence. So 2 to 3 days is plenty for these people. Now, in our experience, when people push, especially the folks that we're talking about that are in that deconditioned category, when they push for 4 or 5 days a week, even if they're willing to pay it. And look, we don't hate money, but I'm telling you, we believe so much in the science of this that we're willing to forego the money for 4 or 5 days a week, because we could offer it. We could just shove it and be like, yeah, it's $1,200 a month to come in 5 days a week, right? But it's not, there's no integrity in that because it's not scientifically sound, right? And so it's like, I get it. I understand the financials of it, makes sense. But it doesn't make sense. And if you're going to hurt them anyway, they're not going to stay long. And what we found in our experience is if people did push us for that unlimited, terrible idea, again, that's why we don't do it, unlimited membership, and they chose to come in more, they would just power down the intensity of their workouts so that they could survive it. And then they're just doing half-baked workouts, which means they're not even producing the amount of intensity that will give them the benefits of strength training, right? Mm-hmm. They're just turning everything into a cardio workout. You might as well be doing a class-based. You might as well do Orange Theory, just do cardio every day. It's like you're not going to get the same benefits if you don't do the traditional train hard, recover. Right.
Right.
So yeah, man, overuse is a big deal.
To just make this clear on this point, though, like strength training, we're building this for you 2 to 3 days a week. We're not telling you not to do stuff outside of that, like going for a walk and stuff like that. So I think that's where people get confused is they want to do stuff. This is where that comes into place. It's like we always talk about, it's our job. I lead you on your fitness journey. I'm going to get you going on what days you need strength training, and then I'm going to help you do things outside of the studio, be active, because we're 100% for that.
Yeah, I mean, like be active every day,
right?
But like go for a walk, right? The risk of injury there is really low. You can probably walk every day and you'd be just fine. But true strength training, the thing that we're going to mainly focus on at Alloy. Now, yeah, to your point, we're the hub and the wheel, right? We're going to focus on all the spokes: supplementation, nutrition, sleep, recovery, all the things. We're going to coach you around like a healthy lifestyle, things to do outside the gym, move more, walk, right? Got it. We can do something every day. But as far as the core thing that is most important for our customer avatar, which is strength first, 2 to 3 days a week is all we need. Anything more than that, you're going to run the risk of them powering down and it being less effective, or more than likely you're going to get someone hurt.
Yeah, sure.
And then the bonus that you have is which one's the last one on your list? What you got?
You just won't read it.
Yeah, I'm trying to read it, but it's upside down.
Psychology. It's your writing.
I know. I can't read my own writing. I write like a third grader. So what'd you say?
Psychology.
Yeah. Well, so what is the psychology of 2 to 3 days a week?
To a person working out?
Yeah, like I'm brand new. I come in here. What's the advantage, or what's the psychology of like? Well,
more in some people's mind, the psychology is there's two sides. Like I can do more. More is better, which you talked about. Or from a service side and a sales side, we can offer less to give you the desired results. So if I tell you like, hey, you can come in 2 to 3 days a week, get you everything you need. You're going to feel better. You're going to lose weight, gain muscle, and you're going to play golf better. How's that sound?
Yeah, perfect. I'm telling you, man, how many brands are out there? It's like only 20 minutes twice a week will get you all the results. That is a sales tactic, right?
Right.
I would actually pay more if you told me I could do less of something I didn't enjoy, right? And get better benefit from it. I would pay more for that. I would. I'd pay more for if you told me I could only do twice a week and get most of the results I wanted. I'd pay more for that, more than likely, right? 3 days a week. If I only had to do that, great. If I go down the street and they're like, you can come every day, I'm like, I don't want to come every day. I don't like it that much. And I'm talking about, I'm speaking to this through the lens of our average client. Yeah. They don't like working out like we do, right?
No.
So 4 or 5 days a week? No. If that's why there are fitness mechanisms out there, whether it's like online commercials or even some brands that try to do brick and mortar that are like, 2 days a week, 20 minutes. It's like, well, great. That's probably not enough, but that is a sales tactic. So don't think of it as like we're underselling. No. People would rather do less and get more results. And they would probably pay more if you could guarantee results. Tough to do, right? Because there's a lot of things outside the gym. But if you could guarantee results with less training, that's an actual positive. And I really want our brand to hear that so that it's not a negative, right? It's not like we're holding them back. No. That is an actual positive in the sales tactics, right?
Well, I mean, we're all battling for time with clients.
Yes.
And, that's everything in their lives, by the way. That's not just fitness. So you're battling for time. So I always tell people like, hey, you're lucky if you can get a client 2 to 3 days a week. So use it as a sales tactic. You own this time. I will take care of you. I promise you'll feel better about it.
Yep.
And they'll do it because the psychology on the other side from the client side is they've probably in their mind created that they need to do more and they have to work out every day a week. So when they get to you and you're like, you can do this in a couple of days a week and be fine. That's huge.
Right. And the facts are, look at the success stories. I mean, we've been in business 34 years, so duh for us, right? But even since Alloy has been scaling and we've got 100 open and bunch in pre-sale, look at all the success stories. Every single one of those people, 2 to 3 days a week, right? That's all you need to do. So if somebody is out there trying to sell you more, if you're doing it right, you don't need it. And if you're already in our brand or you're thinking about it, 2 to 3 days is the prescription, right? And so I think that keeps people healthy, keeps them engaged, builds all the muscle, all the other benefits we talked about today.
Yeah. Well, don't do it to try to make more sales because it reverses what you just said. You're actually removing your sales tactic.
Yeah, you're removing one of the biggest levers you have, which is time, right?
Yeah. You got to have hard conversations sometimes because clients don't know. A lot of times what we do is educate. Got to be able to do that. And 3, don't take that one person that told you that they want to do it 7 days a week and think that's every single client.
I think we'll just leave it at that. That's pretty good stuff. What do you think?
All right.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you. Peace.